14 years of age. It's the first time he's ever done anything like this at all. So give him a round of applause, make him as most welcome as you possibly can, because he's going to do 1 or 2 impressions. So Richard Allo, please.
Thank you very much. How are we all doing this evening, ladies and gentlemen? We're doing good? How are you doing? And how are you doing? Great. Well, I'd just like to say thank you very much for coming here this evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Matthew said, I'm his nephew and John's nephew. I'm 14 years old and I'm going to be performing some comedy stand-up to you this evening. First of all, I'd like to tell you a little bit about how my weekend went before we actually crack on with the first sketch. You know, it's a usual stressful weekend, mum's going crazy, kids are running around everywhere. So I decided that I would go and do some shopping in town. So first of all, I decided that I'd go and park in multi-storey car park. Now, the crime in multi-storey car park, I've got to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, is just wrong on so many levels, okay? I just can't believe it. There were policemen everywhere firing guns. It was just totally crazy. So after that, I decided that I would go to the butcher's to get some meat for my meal in the evening. And when I got to the butcher turned around and he said, "I bet you £5 you can't reach that piece of meat up on the shelf up there." And I said, "Well, obviously I can't, mate. I mean, the stakes are too high." How on earth am I going to be able to reach that piece of meat? So once I'd left the butcher's, I decided that I'd go to the groceries because I wanted to buy some flowers. And these flowers would be flowers I'd be looking at while I was eating my dinner. And when I got in there, I surprisingly bumped into Joe Brand. Now, we all know Joe Brand, don't we? Yes. That very famous comedian and celebrity. And I said, "Oh my God, Joe Brand, what are you doing here?" And she said, "Oh, look at you. You don't half look creative." And I said, "I beg your pardon?" And then she said, "Well, I'm not a cardboard box for nothing. I always sound sarcastic." So she was so rude, so I said, "Stuff you," and I decided to leave. So after that, I decided that I'd go to the cinema to watch Black Beauty. God, now there's a dark horse. And when I came back from the cinema, I became inspired to open a theatre company. So I thought, well, yeah, it'd be a good idea to open a theatre company. So I said to my mum, "Mum, I'm going to open a theatre company." And she said, "Oh, no, you are not." And I said, "Oh, yes, I am." And she said, "Oh, no, you're not." And I said, "Oh, yes, I am." And then my mum said, "So, this theatre company then, are you having me on?" I said, "Well, I'll give you an audition, but I'm not giving you any promises." So after that, I decided that I'd head back into town, and I saw an absolutely shocking sight. I saw Michael Jackson hanging his child off a balcony. And I said, "Hang on a sec, what on earth is going on? Why is Michael Jackson hanging his child off a balcony?" And it wasn't until then that I'd found out that he was hanging his child off a balcony because his wife had said to drop him a few stories. And finally, I was driving along the 5-mile road, you know, just to clear my head of stress. And as I was driving along, I got a phone call, and it was from my assistant. And she said, "You've been promoted." And I nearly swerved off the road because I was so shocked. And then she called me again, and she said, "You have been promoted again." And I nearly swerved off the road again because I was so shocked. And the final time after that, it was my manager who called me, and he said, "You have been promoted as the manager." Well, I certainly careered off the road. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our first little sketch of the evening. We're all familiar with The Weakest Link, aren't we?
Of course we are. Of course, of course.
It's that very old famous quiz show that's no longer shown on TV. Now, does anybody have any ideas, or can anybody tell me who presented The Weakest Link? Anne Robinson, correct. So, good evening, and welcome to The Weakest Link. Time's up. You banked £450. Let's play The Weakest Link. Let's meet our contestants. So our first contestant tonight is Joe Pasquale.
Well, I think I could be a really good apprentice, right? Because I think I have got the voice of authority. Although sometimes I'll get on your nerves. Yeah. What do you think, Anne Robinson? People speak very highly of me.
Well, I just think you speak highly. It's time for our next contestant, Mr. Sean Connery.
Oh yes, Sean Connery, say whatever he likes and the ladies go crazy. That's the thing about Sean Connery, he's always in those films. James Bond, yes, James Bond. Pew, pew, firing his gun, going mad, being chased by taxis all the time. I just can't believe it, Ed Robinson. I think I could be the weakest link.
And our next contestant is X Factor judge, Irish Louis Walsh.
Simon, you're just so insulting. You're so mean. I can't believe you. I get all the crap clothes on the X Factor. Please, can you put me through?
We'll see about that, Louis. And our final contestant of this evening is a very, very, very annoying TV presenter, Graham Norton.
Yes, well, everybody loves Graham Norton. You have to agree. Yes. Well, I'm just so happy to be on the show. And Robinson, yes.
Well, I'm now going to take a quick break, ladies and gentlemen, but join us again for the weakest link. Goodbye.